I found this board at Hobby Lobby. It was $5.99, and make sure you wait for their 40% off. And I'm going to start by priming it with Wise Owl White Primer. Just a heads up, this is going to be a messy art class. I grabbed this home from Hobby Lobby, and I'm painting it in our deep turquoise. You're only going to want to do one coat. And I really like these Gen foam brushes doing letters because you can just kind of easily slip it in these nooks and crannies, and it just does a nice covering. It's not as tedious. Once everything's dry, I'm going to paint one coat of goldenrod. You can do two. I just chose to do the one. Once it's dry, I'm going to take a sander and I'm going to go over and give it a good sanding. And I'm going to let a little bit of that white peek through. And then I'm going to go and just give a quick sanding on each of my letters just to smooth everything out. So I found this table runner at Hobby Lobby in the party section. It was only $3.99. I'm going to lay it out across my board. Now, again, this is going to be messy. If you want to cut down on the mess with the joint compound is what I'm going to be using. You can just probably maybe do some corners and leave some of the wood exposed for the letters. I decided to cover the entire thing with this honeycomb looking table runner. Now, it did leave thicker. This was a little thicker than I normally like. I get nervous about cracking. But I do find if your joint compound is pretty new, I don't have any issues with the cracking. And this is what we have. This is where it kind of gets a little messy, but I kind of didn't really know how else to do this. So I just took my letters and I stuck them in the white joint compound, in the wet joint compound, and just wanted to make the impression of the letters and then remove them. And once that back dries, we're just going to sand that off. I found this garland, I believe at Michael's, and I'm going to paint. It came with 8 bumblebees, and I'm going to start just by taking one and painting it black, allowing the black to dry, and then I went in with a little bit of white and just outlined the wings. And I just did something very basic to give some color, but make it simple. Then I'm going to take some goldenrod and add the stripes in. Now I'm just adding some highlights of the white just to give it some interest. And I'm going to set that aside to dry. So now my joint compound is dry. And I'm going to take a little bit of a sanding paper. This is about 100 to 120 grit. And I'm just going to gently go across. I just want to knock down some of the sharp edges of the compound. You really should do this outside. I'm here doing it inside in my workspace, but I'm going to take it outside to shake off all that extra joint compound dust. And now I'm going to go and I'm going to sand back the back of my letters and give myself a smooth surface so that I can glue these to the board without any issue. So now I'm just touching up my letters with the second coat of paint. Remember, we only did one coat because it's easier to touch up than it is to repaint the whole thing. And now I'm going to use some Elmer's wood glue and a little bit of hot glue to glue my letters onto the board. And I'm just going back in the areas that I made the impression of before. And at this point, you could touch up your letters again. And then I added my B, same way, the wood glue with a little bit of hot glue just to hold it. And then I'm going to take a chip brush and just do some dry brushing of the white on the letters, and then some dry brushing of the deep turquoise on the honeycombs. And I really hope you enjoyed this video. For other tutorials, go check us out on YouTube. You can now watch all our videos at chalkitupfancy.com. For any paint products, tissue paper transfers, or mesh stencils, chalkitupfancy.com. Thank you so much for watching and have a great day.